So, this is going to start my new series on grimoires and esoteric texts and the Apocrypha. Some of this will probably lead into Gnosticism and different types of people associated with both the left hand and right hand paths, if you will. I am going to be giving kind of a deep dive into some of the different books that I have researched, either directly or just by learning about other books and found out about them through the grapevine. But what really originated my idea in doing this is something that happened in 2017. And I have an article from the Chicago Tribune here that is dated for December the 18th at 2018. So it is going to tell you a little bit more about what made me interested in possibly doing this. And then I have another article from the Smithsonian Magazine, which was dated for July 3rd of 2017. So gives a pretty good amount of date range there from where I first discovered. But this Smithsonian article I'm going to show you first because that is what I actually found myself, kind of just stumbled upon it, if you will, one day when I was doing research for my book, Forbidden Fantasies, which is about to come up on its publiversary on Halloween, but I have, different things talking about that story. But a lot of the things that I talk about here that aren't directly related to like my books or, things like that are things that I have researched because I was interested in them. And a lot of those things overlap with the different types of books that I do write. So when I'm sharing these kinds of things, it's kind of just to share my own research path with you guys, the things that I'm interested in. And, I'm just a weirdo goth chick who likes to talk about weird stuff and research weird stuff, and I'm a lifelong learner, so it's something that I enjoy doing. So I decided that we would start this series on grimoires and esoteric texts, and we're going to start out with this article from the Smithsonian Magazine. Check. Smart News: Chicago Library seeks help transcribing magical manuscripts. 3 texts dealing with charms, spirits, and all other manner of magical practice are now accessible online. Here is some of the imagery from it. This one says "to speak with spirits," and it actually has the name Behemoth right there. The Newberry Library in Chicago is home to some 80,000 documents pertaining to religion during the early modern period, a time of sweeping social, political, and cultural change, spanning the late Middle Ages to the start of the Industrial Revolution. Among the library's collection of rare Bibles and Christian devotional texts are a series of manuscripts that would have scandalized the religious establishment. These texts deal with magic, from casting charms to conjuring spirits, and the Newberry is asking for help translating and transcribing them. As Tatiana Walk-Morris reports for Atlas Obscura, digital scans of 3 magical manuscripts are accessible through Transcribing Faith, an online portal that functions much like Wikipedia. Anyone with a working knowledge of Latin or English is invited to peruse the documents and contribute translations, transcription, and corrections to other users' works. You don't need a PhD to transcribe. Christopher Fletcher, coordinator of the project and fellow of the Andrew W. Mellon Foundation, tells Smithsonian.com. The initiative is a great way to allow the general public to engage in these materials in a way that they probably would not have otherwise. The 3 manuscripts now available online reflect the varied and complex ways that magic fit into the broader religious landscape of a shifting and modernizing West. The 17th century Book of Magical Charms contains instructions on a range of magical practices, from speaking with spirits to cheating at dice, according to the Transcribe Faith website, but also includes Latin prayers and litanies that align with mainstream religious practices. An untitled document known as the Commonplace Book, explores strange and fantastical occurrences along with religious and moral questions. Cases of conscience concerning evil spirits by Increase Mather, a Puritan minister and president of Harvard who presided over the Salem witch trials, expresses a righteous condemnation of witchcraft. Newbery has brought the manuscripts to light as a part of a multidisciplinary project titled Religious Change from 1450 to 1700. Let's go ahead and skip forward to the next article, which is from the Chicago Tribune. Newberry Library's Book of Magical Charms is the stuff of nightmares. Look at this book. The Book of Magical Charms is a bit larger than a hotel Bible. Each of its 117 pages were written by hand in a script so dense and dark that when the book is closed, its edges look splotched. The author used standard European iron gall ink and probably a quill. The book, which dates to the 1600s, arrived at the Newberry Library in 1988, bundled with old medical texts. It was not signed and nobody knew who had written it. For years it existed at the Near North Institution as a curiosity, a mysterious antique without authorship. One so eerie it would be at home in the Evil Dead movie. The Book of Magical Charms is navy blue with nothing on its cover or spine. It received its name from the Newberry librarians who needed an in-house description in order to file it away. It is known as an occult manuscript. Let's take a look at the digital Newberry Transcribing Faith website. And it looks like it no longer exists. This crowdsourcing project was completed and retired thanks to thousands of volunteers who helped make manuscripts featured in the Religious Change and Print Initiative easier to find and browse. We can click here to go to the Magical Book of Charms and check it out. And this is from Carly Digital Collections, the Newberry Digital Collections, Newberry Library, Illinois Education. As you can see, the Book of Magical Charms, it has, this one's for things for warding against toothache, for the toothache. These are some of the descriptions about the book. But to be honest, I think you guys really will want to see the actual book. So here it is. Here is the actual book. Let's take a gander. It's so cool that you can actually just flip through all of these pages, and you can even go, I'm going to try to quickly go through it because I'm running out of time, but you guys can see the Latin prayers. The names that are used in here are interesting because there's quite a variety of them. And just the different types of ways that people could be assisted, from things like how to ward off a toothache to how to commune with spirits. But the coolest part about it is that it actually has like illustrations and like, it's almost like an old codie. See, there's one of them. And there's a bunch of like blank pages, but if you're flipping through it, you can start to see different things show up like that. Different things that are written further into the book, like this. This one's definitely interesting. I think there's a section that talks about the Keys of Solomon. It's got the name of Jesus in here too. There's some of the angels. There's Jesus' name right there, see? And I was drawn to this because they were putting out, when I found it, I was around the same time in that July 2017. I speak Spanish very fluently, so I thought, this would be an interesting thing, but I'm not fluent in Latin, so I decided not to do it. But I did go through it and regularly do look through it because it's just fascinating what you can find here. And just like those articles said, you would otherwise not be able to see things like this. So, I mean, it's just really cool.